So for today's agenda, we're going to go over the National Service Recognition Day recap, as well as some highlights from the Senator Scott visit, Senior Corps announcements from several of the individuals within the Florida State Senior Corps group. We're going to talk about Senior Corps progress reports, NSCHC exemption period, hurricane season, drug take-back day results as well. So first of all, we want to send a big thank you to all those who participated in National Service Recognition Day. We really appreciate you recognizing your volunteers. This is also Older Americans Month, so take this opportunity within this month to showcase your programs and engage your volunteers and let your community know what you're all about, and showcase all the amazing programs and services that you have available. So for those of you who did have events for National Service Recognition Day, thank you again for putting that together. Next, we have Senator Scott's visit. For those who don't know, Seniors and Services of Tampa Bay were the ones that hosted Senator Scott for his visit. And I believe we either have Robin or Kathy on the line, and I want to give them an opportunity to talk a little bit about that day. Robin or Kathy, are you on the line?
Yeah, here's Robin's here.
Okay, awesome. Please tell us a little bit about the visit and any highlights you'd like to share.
I'd love to. Thank you so much. One of the things, I had several kind of takeaways that I wanted to share with all the other directors. One of the things that happened was they contacted our CNCS rep on Thursday and wanted to visit on Monday. So these things with politicians are extremely short notice. So it's hard to say yes, but of course we know the value of it, so we have to figure out how to say yes. So we ran around on Friday and got all the security things and the press things all done to make it all happen on Monday. And one of my other big takeaways was we have the foster grandparent program, so we took them to a school to do a visit at the school. And having a good relationship with the schools was hugely helpful. The principal and her staff ran around on Friday, same as us, trying to get the school all in shape to be so publicly, noticed, and they called together an emergency faculty meeting, and when we got there on Friday, they were replacing light bulbs and pressure washing, and because they really wanted to show well too. So, everybody cares about us. And then when Senator Scott came, the principal really gushed about what the foster grandparents mean to the kids and the school and the community. And so that was so helpful to us for them to hear it from the school. For him to hear it from the school, in addition to hearing it from our staff and the volunteers themselves. And he got to see it actually happening in a classroom, which was tremendous. And then we came back to our office and we did a little roundtable discussion with a couple of board members, a couple of CNCS staff, a couple of our staff. And so we really tried to give him a kind of well-rounded idea of the impact that our older Americans have on our community. And so I really felt like, politically it was a really nice step forward, and, just staying in front of them is so important to keeping this funding going.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing. And as you can see in the visual, Rick Scott tweeted about you guys, so that is amazing. That's a huge promotion of your programming, and so thank you so much for sharing today.
You're welcome.
All right. Well, in connection to visits, impromptu visits from elected officials, we just wanted to go over with you some best practices for visits from elected officials. So here are some just key steps that you can follow to help prepare yourself. So number one, always have a stellar site or volunteers in mind for visits. This is really important to have some key locations in mind for when these types of occasions pop up. Number two, logistics. You want a site or volunteers that you have in mind that are typically available on very short notice and are very flexible. Like Robin mentioned, it was very impromptu, her visit, very short notice, people trying to scramble to make everything look nice, and you definitely want to put your best foot forward out there when you have a visit of that kind. Number three, have a sample agenda. Reach out to the state office if you need some type of template, but have a couple sample agendas ready for a visit of this type so you are not trying to scramble at the last minute to kind of prepare yourself for what the day might look like, and also to prepare your coworkers and colleagues and also your sites for what potentially could happen when someone comes to visit and what that agenda might look like. Number four, make sure you have updated program information to give beforehand and during and to be able to follow up after the visit. It's really important that the elected officials have the most current information about your program and that you're able to highlight some current statistics maybe about things that you have accomplished within the past year to really highlight some current stats about what you're doing in your communities. And we know all of you are doing great things, so we just want to make sure that that doesn't get lost. Number five, work on your elevator pitch. Be prepared and do your homework. A lot of the times individuals ask about your specific national service program, and you want to be able to give at least 3 key points about that program, and be able to give a little elevator pitch about what that program is about and the things that you're trying to accomplish. And last but not least, share on social media and also share with the state office. So this particular visit was organized through the state office, but there may be a lot of local visits from your local elected officials that we might not know about. So please share with us when those individuals do come to visit with you. And lastly, send a thank you note after these individuals come to visit you as a follow-up. Most of the time they have a contact person who sets up the visit, and you want to be able to have direct contact with that individual, thank them for facilitating the visit as well as a great point of contact for the future, because these are the individuals making big moves within the state of Florida, and you want to be able to have a direct line of contact for when they're in the area, but to also really promote our national service programs. So those are just a few key points for best practices for visits. Next, we have our Senior Corps announcements. First on the docket is Will Worth from United Way of Escambia, who is the representative for the Florida Senior Corps Association. Will, are you on the line? Will?
Can you hear me okay?
Yes, now we can hear you. Thank you.
Sorry, I had to unmute myself. Sorry, so Alicia and I are still working on some projects for the next FSCA conference. We'll be meeting soon, but I just want to let everybody know that we have a great group of people. We have Don Whelan, who's the treasurer, and Margaret Bauer, who's the secretary, Alicia Ross, who's the vice president, and then me, myself, as the president. So we are working on stuff for next year's meeting. If anybody has anything they'd like for us to cover next year, please forward it to me. Also, I was working on a contact list for everybody in FSCA. If you haven't sent your information, you can email me, or the suggestions for next year's conference, you can email me at will@unitedwayescambia.org. That's it.
Great. Thank you so much, Will. And for those of you who didn't get a chance to attend the Florida Senior Corps Association conference in January, it was a great experience, a really important time to collaborate, share ideas, network. So I really highly encourage, for those of you who didn't get to attend, to plan for it in the upcoming year. So thank you so much, Will. Next on the docket is Josie Fligger with Elder Care Services, part of the National Association of Foster Grandparent Programs Directors. Josie, are you on the line? Josie, you might need to unmute yourself. Okay, I believe Josie might not be on the line at this time, so we'll move on to the next individual, Alicia Ross with Council on Aging of West Florida. She participated in the senior course seminar, and she would like to share some information about her experience there and some key points. Alicia, are you on the line?
I don't think Alicia is. I think she had to take her dad to the hospital, so she was going to miss this call.
Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. Okay. Well, thank you for letting me know. Thank you.
No problem.
Okay, so I think we might have to circle back to this at this time since those individuals are not on the line, so we'll keep the agenda moving here today. So next on the docket is Senior Corps progress reports. You're probably wondering, why are we talking about this? Well, we have noticed that there has been a little bit of confusion when it comes to reporting, so we just wanted to highlight, I took a few excerpts from the actual guidance when it comes to filling out your progress reports. And the biggest thing when it comes to your annual reporting is to be able to submit information about your outputs, your outcomes, and your unduplicated volunteers. The guidance is very straightforward, but we just want to make sure that if there are any clarifications needed while you are putting together your progress reports, whether it be semi-annual or annual, and there's something within the guidance or instructions that you just do not understand, please reach out to your program officer and get that clarification before submission. I think it's really important that everyone puts accurate information into their progress reports, because this is a reflection of your program, the targets that you're accomplishing, and to be able to really showcase the whole picture of what you're doing within a year. And this is a great opportunity for you to showcase what you're doing to us within the report. So please, if there are any issues or challenges, reach out to your program officer before submission. And as always, please remind yourselves to put the progress report due dates on your calendar, because submitting in a timely manner is very important. So just a few points about progress reports. So next on the docket here is the CHC exemption period. We have talked about this on several occasions, but let's talk about it once more. So once again, the exemption period, it has been extended, yay. March 31st, 2019 was the original due date, but now we are extended to June 30th of 2019. So as a reminder, we are officially in mid-May, so you have about a month and a half left to complete those checks. You want to do checks of covered staff positions between November 15th, 2018 and beyond. So make sure that all those individuals are being checked. Now, if you are coming up with volunteers that are not deemed as clear, please reach out to your program officer and let them know that you're having issues. It's really important for us to know the status of your checks and how things are going. If you don't notify us, we don't know. So please reach out to your program officer if you're having any issues with your checks. As always, you can send questions, comments, or concerns to chc@cns.gov, and we ask that you please CC the Florida State Office on those emails, which is fl@cns.gov. So if you have any issues with this, please let us know. So now we segue into hurricane season. Unfortunately, hurricane season is going to soon be upon us. So June 1st through November 30th, 2019 is the official hurricane season. We can't reiterate enough when it comes to disaster preparedness. You need to be proactive. So please reach out to your local emergency management unit. Let them know that you're interested in collaborating, create those partnerships, get that training that you need for your volunteers. It's really important that everyone be prepared. You can connect with Volunteer Florida for CERT training. I think it's really vital that you get as many volunteers as humanly possible to be CERT trained, and that is a great step in being proactive and being prepared for the upcoming hurricane season to have those individuals ready to go for disaster when disaster hits. And the last point that we have is staying connected with the state office. Number one, we just want to know that everyone is okay. All the staff, all the volunteers, they are accounted for. So if you could please send to us a potential alternative cell phone number or email address just to have a backup for those occasions for when internet is down or sometimes a cell phone connection is limited. You may think, well, why do you need an alternative if it would be down? You never know. And I think it's really important to have multiple forms of connection, especially when it comes to disaster time. So please send your program officer an alternative cell phone number and email address for those types of occasions, so we have that on file at least. The next thing when it comes to staying connected is the assessment of whatever damage could be happening if there is a hurricane. So let us know, what resources do you need? Communication is key during this time for us to be able to assist you with the resources that we have. The other element is data collection. What resources have you deployed within your area and what is lacking? So please give that information to us. I know it can be a difficult time when you're dealing with the chaos of a disaster, but this is why being prepared and being proactive before these events happen is really vital. Also, leadership and elected officials tend to want to visit during these very delicate times, and that kind of circles back to being prepared for a visit when those individuals come. So it's very common for elected officials to want to visit the site and see what's going on in that area. So be prepared for a potential visit from an elected official, after a huge natural disaster may hit. Not the ideal time, but it's important to showcase what resources we do have available to support the community and what you're doing to manage the chaos of a natural disaster aftermath. And the last element is long-term recovery. We do have other resources available to you other than what you're doing in your communities. We have VISTA, which is a resource through AmeriCorps. These individuals are perfect for building the capacity of your organization and providing resources for disaster preparedness. So please reach out if that is something that interests you. Maybe this could be a potential resource that we can implement within your organizations and create some type of guide or handbook to make sure that when these events happen that you are prepared and you know how to best deploy your volunteers to support those areas of your community that need that. So just some key points about preparing for the upcoming hurricane season. All right, last but not least, Drug Take Back Day results. So we've had 2 individuals that submitted some pretty substantial information about Drug Take Back Day. Andrea Taylor from Experience Works at St. Lucie location that they have. They collected 30 pounds of medicine. At their Alachua location, they collected 299 pounds of medicine. Wow, that's really amazing. And Cheryl Freeman from St. Johns County, their location collected 107 pounds of medicine. At this time, I'd love for Cheryl to share a little bit about that day and some information. Cheryl, are you on the line?
I am. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Cheryl, would you like to share a little bit about how you got your volunteers engaged, maybe who did you partner with, and any lessons learned from this experience?
Well, we've been working pretty much from the beginning when you guys wanted us to get involved, and it started out with a town hall meeting about a year ago. From that point, we got involved with the Anti-Drug Task Force, and that's includes a lot of people in the county, but the big players are the PACT Prevention Coalition, and as far as the Take Back Day, the Army National Guard is very involved. We have a contact person, Captain Michael Coy, but he and representing the Guard is very involved with it. We've had, I think I've shared before that we've had a special day for 2 locations for Drug Take Back that was not at all the same day as a national one, but that was very, very successful, done by itself in those 2 senior neighborhood or complexes. And those seem to be the most successful for us. However, we have taken part in the October and then of 2018 and then April 2019 Drug Take Back Days. So we have a couple of staff that are taking around flyers and posters to drugstores, grocery stores, housing places. This last Take Back Day, it was kind of a last minute thing with the group, even though I love them, but we had actually staff going out and doing those posters. But then the day of, we had 2 volunteers at one site, another volunteer at another site with Captain Coy, and then I there with Bridget from the PAC Coalition and her mighty dog, can't remember his name, but anyway, or her name. But we were at the Southeast Branch Library in St. Johns County. So there were 4 or 5 locations in St. Johns County. And then we are now kind of on the heels of that I'll be attending the another town hall meeting tomorrow night, and they will be talking about fentanyl. That seems to be the big discussion piece for this one, but I'm sure it'll be a lot more exhaustive than that. But there is a really great group coming together to fight this. And like I said, when I shared on that a few months ago, I'd like to get my numbers up for volunteers being involved, but I think we have a really good presence, and our most successful are those the ones that we can do separately from the actual Take Back Day. So doing those together really does produce some great results.
Great. Thank you so much, Cheryl, and fantastic job. 107 pounds of medicine. That's really impressive. So thank you to those who did actually do an event for Drug Take Back Day. I'd like to open it up to the general public here to share about their Drug Take Back Day as well. Anyone who wants to give a highlight of that day or something that you learned along the way, give some best practices about how to engage your volunteers or how to partner. I'd like to open up that opportunity now. So anybody like to share?
This is Andrea Taylor. Can you hear me?
Yes. Hi, Andrea. Thank you.
Hi. I just wanted to say that in last October, it took me a little bit to get things together for the take back day. Just getting everything organized of how um, it was supposed to be. So I connected with someone with DEA, and I have that information. It's for Florida, that I could, pass along if anybody's interested. I could email it out. But basically, she kind of let me know what exactly we needed. Like, you need a certified, deputy on with you to take narcotics, and then, they didn't take creams or liquids, but we have a hazardous waste person collection in Alachua County that actually did. So we had them on site as well. So we could take everything, needles, creams, liquids, as well as the pills. And that was back in October. And then this time in April, we actually partnered with a few other people. We partnered with the, obviously, the Sheriff's Office again, and then the Health Coalition in the county. They wanted to get involved. So they did 2 locations. And then we still kept our same location at the senior center, which was great, because last year we collected 100 pounds. And then this one was actually 204 pounds just out of that location in Alachua. So we did 3 different locations, and we kind of combined all of our data, and we did a survey this time as well. And we actually got some extra volunteers, probably about 8 people that signed up that just to volunteer for RSVP. So that was awesome. And they didn't have to put their name and information if they didn't want to, but we took kind of a survey of like their age and, if the event was helpful and how do they hear about it and things like that. So we worked with the local newspaper. There's a local TV channel there. I think it's TV 20 was what it was in Alachua, and he came in October, and he also came in April, and he said it's going to be a regular thing. So he said he'd see me in 6 months, but that's all good coverage. And then as far as like the newspaper, 21 of like the 87 people that completed the survey heard it from the newspaper. So we contacted them and kind of gave them like a story of the after effects, and because they actually helped us get people. So all those things are good as far as connections. So you kind of want to just reach out as far as you can. Like I said, last October, it was just me doing, trying to figure it all out. But then in April, 6 months later, we had a partner in the Health Coalition. The Sheriff's Office actually gave us their deputy for free, because I had to pay for it in October just to kind of get it started. And so all that was good things to know. But that's all. I'm off my soapbox.
Oh, wow. Amazing. Well, thank you so much for sharing. Over 300 pounds of medicine for Experience Works. That's really astronomical. And thank you so much for Andrea and Cheryl for sharing today. The opioid epidemic is really sweeping the nation at this time, and impacting Florida as well. So thank you so much for your efforts to really combat this major issue. Is there anyone else on the line who'd like to share about their Drug Take Back Day?
Hey, Melissa. I just wanted to read a comment in the chat.
Oh, sure.
Kathleen shared that in Martin County, their assistance wasn't needed, so they e-blasted the provided flyer from the DEA to over 1,600 volunteers in their database, and also asked nonprofit agencies to post at their locations. They're still waiting for figures from the Sheriff's Department. And this actually, it does echo something that I've heard from some of my other grantees, that that in certain communities that the system is so well set up that that RSVP or senior corps projects just the contributions look different in different communities based on the infrastructure that's available. So thank you so much, Kathleen, for promoting throughout your networks. And we highly encourage everyone to participate and contribute in the way that they can, especially by sharing this information with their volunteers.
Great. Thank you, Marianne, for sharing that information. All right. Well, great results for Drug Take Back Day. So we're going to just move on to anyone with a question, comment, or concern. Marianne is monitoring the chat, so if you need to type something in, she'll let us know on the call here, or anybody who would like to make a comment, remember to press *6 to unmute your line.
This is Dawn Whalen. I have a question.
Sure.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Oh, okay. I am the new treasurer of the Florida Senior Corps Association, and I've been getting checks from people, but I don't know who they're from because it doesn't say. It just says the name of the agency, but it doesn't say the person. So if you know your agency sent your check in, can you send me an email? I'll give you my email address because I don't know who, like Polk County. I got your check, but I don't know who you are, who the person is. Communities in Schools of Florida. I got a check, but I don't know who the person is. So my email address is Dawn, DAWN, Whalen, WHELAN, at Collier, COLLIER, County, COUNTYFL.gov. So if you know your agency sent in your Florida Senior Corps dues, but it doesn't have a name on it, I have it listed, but I don't know who it's for. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Dawn. All right. Anybody else, either in the chat or want to unmute your line? Questions, comments, concerns?
Hey, Melissa, this is Will again.
Hi, Will.
So for Drug Take Back, I meant to say this earlier. We don't have the opportunity of actually collecting the drugs in Escambia County. The sheriff's department does that, and they don't allow anybody to help. But what we did is we did an opioid presentation to seniors the week of Drug Take Back Week, and presented them with information about the opioid epidemic and where they could take their excess drugs and deliver and to return them either at CVS, Walgreens, or their sheriff's department.
Awesome. Really creative thinking there. I know it's a little frustrating when you're not able to participate when you want to create an event, but what a great way to still stay engaged and educate people, especially your volunteers, about this epidemic and where they can properly dispose of that unwanted medication. So great job. Anyone else on the line or in the chat want to make a comment?
This is Kathy with Seniors in Service. We
Hi, Kathy.
had our staff go out to our SCP clients' homes with their volunteers and did a drug disposal training and gave them small drug disposal bags that they could get rid of their medication at home, as well as give them resources on where to drop off medication in the community.
Wow, fantastic, Kathy. That's perfect. That's exactly what we need to do to combat this epidemic that is at this time sweeping the nation. So great way to get engaged.
Thank you.
Anybody else on the line want to make a comment or in the chat box?
Hi, everyone. This is Billy. I wanted to jump in just in case we were getting ready to close and just kind of echo a lot of what Melissa was saying in terms of appreciation and recognition for your hard work and your efforts. Sometimes it feels like a thankless job, but you all are doing tremendous work in really championing and rallying behind your volunteers and meeting your critical community needs. This is amazing work that I'm hearing. Some of it is new to us in terms of your efforts in the opioid addiction and substance abuse realm. We definitely want to hear more. Keep it coming. If you have not already, please email your program officer as well as the Florida mailbox, fl@cns.gov, your activities. That information is funneled to headquarters and they track that. They use it for congressional visits. They use it to inform our elected officials about the great work that you all are doing. And unfortunately, we cannot tell that story without you. And I know you all are doing some phenomenal things. So make sure as things happen, and I know you get busy, that you take some time to let us know so that we can highlight you and make sure that your activities are properly accounted for. I also wanted to emphasize, it feels like we're still reeling from Hurricane Michael. My thoughts go out to our folks in the Panhandle who are still not yet back in order and won't be for some time. Same thing goes for Irma. But here we go again with a brand new hurricane season, and regardless of the type of senior corps program you are, should something happen, we'll all be affected. And so I don't want you all to think about the box that you're in terms of programming or even type of program, especially for my FGP and my SCP folks. You do have a space in this area. You do exist in this particular focus area as well. There's a lot of education that needs to be done prior to disasters happening. You have in-service as that opportunity. Some of your folks who are SCP, who are with their clients, that's an opportunity. Folks who are at the schools, there's also opportunities there. So I want you all to kind of really brainstorm and think about, if I'm not already in this space, how can I get in this space? Because once it happens, it's too late. Communication is often cut off. People are scrambling. People who are inadequately prepared are the ones who are hit the hardest. And we know that Florida being a very high senior populous state, that our seniors are particularly vulnerable. And I also want you all to be cognizant of the fact that we're a transient state. So we're getting new seniors every day. Which is great for recruitment. It's great for supporting independent living and respite care. Not so good if folks are not prepared to deal with what we know and what we prepare for every year. So please really think about how you can get involved. Reach out to us for help. We have a disaster services unit at headquarters if you all want additional training. But this is really an area that we all need to make sure that we're in. This is where your bread is buttered. This is one of the things that substantiates funding for our agency, largely in part to your ability to immediately activate after a storm and support, which many of you have done. So I definitely wanted to piggyback on that particular note as we gear up for another hopefully calm hurricane season.
Great. Thank you, Billy. Yes, thank you, Billy, for those additional motivation and comments. Anyone else want to chime in the chat? Remember, if you want to say something, you need to press *6 to unmute your line. Okay, well, thank you so much for joining us on the call today. I will be sending out the PDF of the PowerPoint today to all of you via email later. And thank you for joining us on the call. Have a great day.